Let's go watch it in 2D. No, let's go watch it in 3D. But if we watch it in 3D, then is it worth the cost?
Caroline.
Caroline what?
Coraline.
This August, Coraline returns to theaters
It's Coraline.
in remastered 3D. You've never seen Coraline quite like this. Sorry. See Coraline on the biggest screen possible.
Still Coraline.
So sorry.
Hello. This is Adolf, and today I'm by myself, and I'm reviewing Coraline. Coraline is getting a 2024 re-release, and this is my first time watching this movie in 3D. Now, the movie did previously get a 3D release and a 3D Blu-ray, so I will not compare and contrast because I don't know I have never seen Coraline in 3D before this moment. That being said, I really enjoyed the 3D aspect of this movie. When the movie first starts, I was like, man, this kind of 3D sucks. It's just kind of flat. It's there, but barely. And then once Coraline enters the other world, that's when the 3D really comes in. The other world that Coraline visits, whenever she travels between the worlds with the tunnel, that tunnel has some phenomenal 3D depth. And it really gives you a lot of sense of you're there with Coraline. And how the camera zooms in there is just magnificent. It's great cinematography, and it's great 3D there. You really love it whenever those tunnels pop up and you're going through there with Coraline. And whenever you're in the other side, the other world, the 3D really shines. It really looks beautiful. There's many moments of pop-out 3D. There's many moments of depth 3D. It just looks nice. It makes a really interesting contrast as the quote-unquote real world is very subdued, very flat, reflecting the mundane, dull aspect of Coraline's life. And then this other world, which is actually very whimsical and has all these cool things happening. It really has great 3D. And it's unfortunate that the entire movie can't look as good as the other side. But I understand why they were doing this. The 3D is done in an intelligent way to help the visual storytelling. And whenever you're in the other side with Coraline, that 3D really pops. And the 3D sequences there, they really have a lot of action scenes and scenes that are fun. And the 3D really plays well for those scenes. So there's definitely some moments that have some pop out and some nice depth in the regular world as well. It definitely is there. It's just subdued. And whenever there's a need for it, it will really pop out and be visually impressive. But whenever you're on the other side, that's when the 3D really decides to shine. And it's really enjoyable. It's really expertly done too. It looks like you just reach out and grab these characters because it looks so real. It's not a cheesy gimmick per se. It's just there to help the narrative and make a more interesting visual experience. And it perfectly complements the visual design and the cinematography. Now, I wanted to say that when the credits roll, you should probably stick around because how the actual movie plays with the credits and the 3D is actually nice too. There's some flying dogs, and they use the 3D pretty well for those dogs. And then there's a post-credit scene that is phenomenal in 3D. So absolutely stick around for that. Overall, I really did enjoy the 3D aspect of Coraline. Like I said before, I don't know if this is better than the previous version, but I really enjoyed what I saw here. It's unfortunate that we don't have the 3D in being amazing for the entire movie, just, half of the movie, give or take, when she's in the other side. But it does use 3D well. And overall, it's a must-watch. If you've never seen Coraline in 3D, you gotta go to theater to watch this. Even if you own Coraline, you want to see this in 3D. And it's really nice. The first time I've seen it in 3D. I'm very happy to see it in 3D. I would love to be able to watch this in 3D at home. Hopefully it gets 3D Blu-ray release. Alright, in closing, the 3D aspect. I give the final verdict a 8 out of 10. Now, on to the movie itself. When Coraline first released in 2009, it became an instant classic, and it still holds that high regard today in 2024. LAIKA's stop-motion animation is nothing short but of mesmerizing. Its rich, detailed visuals dazzle, even 15 years later. Animation brings to life a hauntedly beautiful world, a great horror story for kids that adults can enjoy too. I love how tangible the film looks. The hair looks amazing for stop-motion animation. The environments are so detailed, rich, and interesting to look at. The art of Coraline is so well executed that it's become iconic since its initial release. Coraline might be a little bit too scary for very young children. Maybe under 6. But for kids older than 6, teens and adults, I think this would be really nice. The plot is very straightforward. As Coraline, she discovers a parallel universe where everything seems better, but it's not. Despite its simplicity, Coraline really gives you an engaging storyline where you get to explore with her, hey, what's this other world? I know I've always fascinated and dreamt of this kind of storyline when I was a kid. Oh yeah. The story is simple, but it's not a weakness in simplicity. It's a strength because it gives you enough to make you interested in the story and what's going on, but it doesn't overwhelm you with too many details. It gives you what's needed. Now, the plot here reminds me of a classic Rod Serling Twilight Zone, and I say that with the highest regard. It just has that creepiness that really works, and this movie resonates. And the only aspect of this movie that is kind of a little bit dated is that, there's some cell phone usage, and the cell phones are flip phones. But overall, Coraline feels ahead of its time because it uses multiple universes, parallel worlds. This theme has grown popular over the years and now perhaps overdone. And Coraline feels like it was cutting edge and ahead of its time when it released, and it feels right at home now. What really makes Coraline sets it apart is that it just has these memorable characters, and the animation is fantastic. Coraline herself is a very relatable protagonist, with curiosity and a sense of awe that you with her. You're like, yeah, I understand why she's frustrated. I understand why she wants to be in the other world. And the simplicity of the button eyes, it is haunting. It is scary. And yet so simple. It sticks with the viewer even after the credits roll. It shouldn't be so unnerving, but it really is. It's creepy. Even after all these years, those button eyes just really just get under your skin. And that's just great design. In theory, button eyes shouldn't be scary, but this movie makes it scary. The voice acting's top notch, and it really feel like you have believable characters. That, okay, everyone has a place and has a reason to be there, and it makes sense. And it's a joy to watch. I've seen this movie multiple times, and I love it every single time. It has a beautiful score. It just has very whimsical moments, and it feels like it's pushing animation to be a new level, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna play it up. It's animated. Let's have fun, and it's one of the best spooky movies for kids. It's a genre that's kind of hard to get down. There's a lot of kind of scary movies and scary TV shows for kids that it just doesn't really capture the innocence and the fear of the unknown and wanting something better. And this is able to capture those nightmares and make it into a real good story that is fun. It's interesting. It's captivating, and it connects. I really love Coraline. I loved it before. I love it now. And even if it's your first time watching this, you're going to love this too. This is a movie that got LAIKA to become a business. And it still is well worthy of your money and time now. It's the first time I've seen this in theaters, and I loved seeing it in theaters. I think I have the Blu-ray at home, and I have seen it at home on streaming, and it's still worth your time. Now, if you're wondering if there's a post-credit scene, there is. And there's actually, for this re-release, there's actually bonus content after the post-credit scene. So stick around. They'll give you a new behind-the-scenes video that talks about how they remade this movie. Apparently, this remake is they re-scanned it and redid things. So I couldn't really tell what was different. I just thought it looked great. So I guess it's a wonderful remaster because I never really thought, oh, that looks out of whack or weird or different than I remember. It just looked awesome. And this movie is fantastic. I don't think anything has changed. I don't think any changes were so minor that I have not noticed. I've seen this movie like 3 or 4 times, and I love it every time I've seen it. So, yeah, I really have no negatives. I really struggled and tried to find something negative about this movie, but it's just a joy to watch. It's whimsical, it's scary, it's spooky, and it works. So, Coraline is a perfect 10 out of 10 for me. I love Coraline. This is a fantastic movie, and I hope this gets re-released in October for spooky season, because I think this is a classic, and it was a classic when it came out in 2009. It's a classic in 2024, and I hope new kids are able to enjoy this, because this is a great movie that really captures innocence of being a kid and exploring and having fun. And is it all a dream? Is it not a dream? This is a lot to dive into, and a lot, of fun themes of witches and ghosts, and there's a lot of fun to this movie. It's really whimsical, it's enjoyable, and it's a delight. So, absolutely love seeing Coraline again, and that's going to be it for this review. Thank you for watching or listening. Bye.
I got one more thing to talk about. We have our own merch store. It's a print to order, and it's on the website right now. We got t-shirts, we got totes, we got cups, we got leggings, we got skirts, we got just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We got a little bit of everything. So I try to make these prices affordable. So you get some original designs, some fresh designs, and if you love 3D, like you listen to this podcast, you're going to love the products that we have here, because it's all over 3D, and it's just 3dor2d.com/store. A link will be in the show notes, and if you just go to the website, it'll be there. But wait, there's more. Right now, we have an opening sale offer code. If you use code 3D2014, you'll get 10% off. And that code expires on August 23rd. So use it now before it's gone. Before this podcast wraps up, I want to thank MK Ultra, Gravity Head Zero, and Axe Folk for being my super VIP patrons on Patreon.
You can find 3D or 2D on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and more. Just look for 3D or 2D. Links are in the info box. If you want to send us listener mail, our email address is email3dor2d@gmail.com. Thank you for either listening or watching this podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.